The issue starts when you said no to someone, and right after that, you want to say yes to that person.
Allison, I am a customer. I pay to come to the social. I'm going to dance with whoever I want to.
That dance can be the difference between them staying or leaving the scene. The difference between how confident they feel in their dance.
Guys, listen to this very closely. Many times, the people who really energize me are the beginners.
Not even Buddha was that open. And it's okay not to vibe with everybody.
But you know what? The worst thing that we can do is to watch and do nothing. Please do the kind thing as a person, as a human being. And if you see that somebody's having a hard time in the community, try to seek help for them, or try to at least let people know, people that you trust and know that they can do something about it to help those people. When is it okay to decline a dance? Should we always say yes? And how we can say no without feeling guilty? Well, let's find out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to ZoukNerds. In this episode, we are addressing a highly requested topic: how to handle social dance invitations. This is a deeply sensitive and personal subject. We'll be sharing our own stories of when we've said yes, when we've said no, and the reasons behind it. We'll also explore the energy, the vibes, and the personal boundaries that influence our choices on the dance floor. Join us as we explore how a simple yes or no can impact the entire atmosphere of a social and offer some ways to find that perfect rhythm. So, let's go. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode. My name is Alisson Sanji, and let's welcome once again our beautiful co-host, Gui Prada. Hello, Gui.
Hello, Alison. Hello, everybody. Excited for this episode. I think it's going to be a good one.
Oh, yes, it's going to be a good one. And it's going to be one that I think we're going to go into multiple different ways. So buckle up. It's going to be interesting. Today, we want to talk about the biggest, I think, anxiety that we all have in social dancing. Saying yes and saying no. Is it okay to say no? Should we always say yes? When should we say yes? When should we say no? This is such a big topic that I'll tell you what already. Maybe spoiler alert. I don't think we have the final answer for everybody. We will not have that final answer for everybody. I think it's impossible. But we're here and we'd love to share our experience and how we deal with this. So let's start with that, right?
It's a tricky one. And I think right away I want to say, yes, super okay, super fine to say no. If you don't want to dance with someone, if for any reason you want to skip that dance. The issue starts to come when you said no to someone, and right after that, someone comes and invites you to dance, and you want to say yes to that person, but you just said no. Then we can start with the hardest scenario and go from there. And in my journey, guys, by default, if I just said no to someone and someone else invites me to dance and I want to dance with that person, I will say, look, I just said no to that other person over there. And do you mind if we dance later? Because many times I say no because I'm tired, because I need to rest for some reason. Most times I say no because I'm tired. There are some instances in which I say no because I need to conserve energy and not necessarily physical energy. It's more like a metaphysical, like emotional energy as well. And sometimes the dancing draws some of the energy away. And some people are able to restore their energy. So I'm kind of like saving dance to those who, when I dance with them, I know is going to bring back energy up, the energy beyond the physical. But most times it's because I'm tired or because I need to rest. But there is the fire. Like in Portuguese, we say fire in the, fogo no, which is this desire to do something. Even if you're tired, if completely depleted, you still want to do it. So this person that I really want to dance with invites me to dance. And I just said no to someone. So It's also an exercise for me to control this impulse to keep dancing all the time. So I tell, look, I just said no, and I need to rest here. And by default, I do that. And it's also because I feel bad too. I would feel very bad because I have had the situation in which I invited someone to dance. They said no to me because they were tired. They said, oh, I'm resting. And then I turn around and I see they are dancing with someone else with all the energy. At the time, I didn't have the understanding. Today, I do. So if that happens today, and it happened kind of recently, I'll look at it and I'll say, oh, okay, super fine. I understand. Humans are complex. But I still can't do it really well. I still feel bad. Yeah. What about you guys?
Well, I think that changes from person to person. And before I put my personal opinion here, I'm just going to say, at first, let's talk about a customer, right? As a customer, and I've had many students who are very particular about this. They're very open and they say, Alison, I am a customer. I pay to come to the social. I'm going to dance with whoever I want to. And what can I say? They are right. They have the right to do that. They have absolutely the right to pick anyone that they want to dance with. Maybe 2 people only. That's it. Fine. Now, is that what I would recommend for somebody who wants to be part of the community? And I'm going to repeat this again. Someone who wants to be part of the community, who wants to feel like people will be there for them when they need, that they will be there for other people when those people need. I don't think so. But yes, you can. Now, for somebody who wants to be part of community, like Gui, like myself, who are also teachers, but even if we remove the teacher situation, the organizer situation, whatever you can label us as someone who wants to be part of the community, I'm going to be more mindful and I'm going to be more open about why and how. So if somebody asks me to dance, same thing, copy and paste from Gui. If I'm tired, I'm going to say I'm having a break. Or maybe I don't enjoy the music. Or maybe I just had a dance and that dance either made me feel a certain way very positively or not. And I need a time to just deal with that feeling before I can step into the social again and continue dancing. And yes, many times I felt terrible because I would like to dance, but not with that person that just asked me. And let me explain why. There are people, like Gui said, that we already know. We've danced with them so many times. Within those people that we've danced so many times, there are people that can re-energize us. And there are people that have maybe a high expectation of us. Out of those people that I already know, if I'm tired, if something's off, I may want to say yes to that person that I know will hold the space for me. And I'm saying re-energize, not in a way that they're going to make me feel like dancing hype and dancing explosive, but they'll just bring me back in line and they will help me through holding space for more or for less, just putting me back into where I needed to be. But then there's the other people that I know that if I dance with them, they have a certain expectation. And those are the people that I know and like to dance with. And this person, I might say, look, not right now, but can we dance later? Same thing. And then there's the other people that we don't know at all. You know, we haven't danced at all, or we haven't danced enough. And then there's that interaction. And a lot of the times it comes from the interaction. I may be on the verge. Don't know if I'm about to stop. Don't know yet. And then person comes. I feel that energy, and that energy is just not compatible with how I'm feeling right now. And then I just say no. I say, look, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to have a break. But I'll be honest here. I didn't need to have a break. But I decided to take a break because I had the option to either say yes to that person, not knowing what was going to happen, but feeling a certain type of energy that wasn't very welcoming to me, or go for it and deal with the consequence, which is something that I did for very, very long and never made me feel good. Because in the middle of the dance, I was like, oh God, this is not good. And if I was like at 20% battery, that dance took me straight down to zero. You know, maybe I could have had another dance that I finished at maybe 15%, but that specific dance took me straight down to zero. And let's be clear here. We are not talking about level of experience. We're not talking about how many spins you can do. We're not talking about anything like that. Guys, listen to this very closely. Many times, the people who really energize me are the beginners.
Yes.
I'll be very honest. They re-energize me because of the passion, because everything is beautiful, because of all of those things. Usually, I'm more often saying no to the people that are more experienced because of that certain expectation that they have dancing with me, that we're going to do this, we're going to do that, or that this is going to be the dance of the night for them. Yeah. So please, anything that we talk about in today's episode is not relating to any level of experience or quality of technique or anything like that. It's very much the energy, the feeling, the vibe that you're feeling from that person. Or maybe if you're already dancing with somebody, the touch, the way that you're holding each other, the way that they're either engaging and expressing things with you or not. Those are the things that can really change the battery into recharging mode or like depleting mode.
I'm glad you highlighted that, Alison, because it has absolutely nothing to do with the level. When you talked about it, I was like, oh, yeah. It's good to talk about this because some people might think, no, but it's not at all. And I want to repeat that I said maybe in one episode when people ask the famous questions, what are your favorite dancers? Who are your favorite people to dance with? In my top 5 list that I used to have, 2 of those people were my favorite dancers from the day they stepped in class in Basics 1, you know. So there's really nothing to do with the level here. And you mentioned the thing of the paying customer. And I was thinking about the fact that Brazilian Zouk scenes around the world are still quite small in general. So it's almost like living in a small town. You know, and living in a small town, everybody knows who married who, and everybody knows who is with who, and everybody knows who arrived, the newcomer, who is leaving. So there is a knowledge about everybody and everything. And for many years of my life, my dance life, I was a bolsista. So I did classes for free in Rio. In return, I had to dance with the students. At first, that was like, oh my God, I need to dance with the students, blah, blah. But then over time, that became part of the mindset in a way that I started enjoying it. So dancing with everybody was something that I started really enjoying, to the fact that the beginner social was my favorite social. There was a social just for beginners back in the day called Baile do Tum Tum, which is the Tum Tum party, the Tum Tum social. And the beginners were specifically identified with a little ribbon. I think it was an orange ribbon, and we needed to find them and dance with them. The thing is that the dream of every bolsista was for one day to become a student, meaning be able to pay for class or be able to pay for the social and choose who they want to dance with. And then I did that eventually. And guys, I paid for an advanced bolero class and I didn't change partners. I didn't rotate. I was with my partner the whole time. And then I started paying for the socials. Same thing. I would go to the social and dance with 1 or 2 people. Sometimes I would meet the person at the door, go in, dance 40 minutes with just that person, and go home happy. You know, a friend of mine, someone that I really like to dance with, I would message, are you going to the social? Can I just dance with you the whole night? And why did I say about the small town first? Is the other dance scenes that I was a part of, they were big cities. So the scene was big. So the fact that I danced with just one person did not have any impact in the health of the scene, because it was like this 100 people there. People having a good time, not caring at all about what I was doing. In the Brazilian Zouk community, it's much smaller. So when you go ahead and then you become more selective of who you dance with, to the point that I was, just dancing with one person, it does have an impact in the overall feeling of the social, in the overall vibe of everything and stuff like that. So as a paying customer, I was a paying customer, like being completely on my own, kind of gonna do my thing and that's it. Given the circumstances, however, after I started teaching Brazilian Zouk and like visiting the Zouk scenes and listening to the complaints and adding to what Alison was saying, being part of a community, I think it is nice overall in the long run. It might not bring you immediate satisfaction until your mindset shifts, but in the long run, I think it's very healthy to save a moment of your social to say yes to everybody or most people, and being attentive to your battery, noticing when you have the capacity to do it, noticing when you don't have the capacity to do it. And it changes over the course of the night. I know some people that take like longer breaks, but they keep dancing all night. They say yes, they say no, but they are there, they're dancing with the people. So nobody needs to be like I am sometimes. When the moment that I start dancing, I just keep going until the music stops, something that I'm trying to do less. But it's just like giving time for your body, for your mind to rest, for you to set and reset and everything else. So in the end of the day, considering that Brazilian Zouk is a smaller scene, I would just invite people to think and to realize the huge impacts that it can have for them to dance with more people in the social. And when they say no, when they say yes, that no and the yes is made with awareness of your internal battery, of like what you really want, And if you said no to someone first and then somebody else invited you to dance later, be mindful as well of the other person. If it was you in that position like I was, I felt terrible. So that's why I can't do it. But anyway, just realizing the aspect of the size of the scene and how that can impact, And Alison, I think you ended up not talking about your personal experience of saying no, saying yes, and all this stuff.
For me, I think it's very much something that I was about to bring as a suggestion. I like to structure everything in my life, but I like to structure the social into parts. Okay, the beginning of the social is when I'm there the most for everyone. I want to change partners as much as possible. Change. And then in the middle of the social, I'm more like, whatever happens. Sometimes I'll dance a little longer. Sometimes I'll dance a little shorter. Whatever happens. And then at the end, I save this space for myself. I'm going to be more selective. That's it. That's how I do it. And that's how I think a lot of you can find a balance. If you don't want to dance with tons of people, you just want to dance with one person, you can do that anytime. But I would say avoid the beginning of the party, because that can really affect the beginning of the party when there are people already dancing with each other for very, very, very long. So the beginning of the party, let's try to rotate more. We can also give a tip for DJs out there, for teachers out there. At the beginning of the party, maybe first hour or two, try to use less perfect transition things, sets or skills, less 5 minutes to 10 minute songs that feels like it's never changing. Try to be more intentional and obvious about the music change. I'm not saying let the music stop and have a completely silenced room. But yeah, that's what I do. At the beginning, when I'm full of energy and my emotions are still like, yay, let's go. That's when I feel like I can change partners more. But yes, in the middle, I'm more like, hey, can we dance the next song? Or can we dance in a few songs? The music right now, it's not vibing with me. Or if it's somebody that I know that I want to dance with, they'll say, hey, can we dance later in the night? The music is a little too much of this or too much of that. And I would love to have a dance with you later when the music is more like this, you know? And then there's just those situations where you know that you don't want to dance with that person at the beginning, in the middle, in the end, today, tomorrow, or next week. Maybe 6 months or 12 months if something really happens and something really changes. But there's just some people that you don't vibe with. You wouldn't go and grab a coffee with them. You wouldn't have a dinner with them. You wouldn't walk to the bus with them. Like, it's just that. And that doesn't mean that person is a bad person or a bad dancer or anything like that. It just means that you don't vibe with that person.
Yeah.
What to do in that situation? What do you do, Gui?
Oh, man. It's so hard. The situation is so hard. I'm thinking about like when that happens, or the dancers that exist out in the world that I have a hard time vibing with. And there is a barrier, I think, that makes it very hard for me to connect with that person in the most basic dance level, which is, you know, just holding the opening brace and let's do some basics. It's hard. So there's like a barrier. It's like something going on. And I realize a couple of things. When that's happening, it's hard for me to look the person in the eye. There is a barrier of touch and there is a barrier of communication. It's hard to stay around the person talking for very long. So I realized, and that happened as a teacher too, you know, sometimes there is a student in class, there's someone in class that has the thing, and then you feel this thing in your field of view going on, and the signs are really similar. Difficult to make eye contact. There's a physical barrier. It's difficult for you to talk to that person, to give feedback, all these things. Yeah, Addison, I think you can identify with all of that.
Even just touching.
Yes.
Touching the person. There's something that the chemistry, the vibes, the energy, all of the things, they don't both say yes. They say like, this is weird. I don't know if they feel it, but I feel it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if the other person feels it or if it's just us going crazy, but I figured out a way on the student side, someone in class. So I realized that I need to break the visual contact barrier. When I go through that part that I can make visual connection with the person, talk to them, looking in the eye and stay there. And then comes the physical barrier with like just touching the shoulder to acknowledge their presence, you know, or when going to talk to them, making some contact with the body. And that has been sort of regulating the nervous system that gets all fired up and gets to the point in which it gets much better. In the social, because we don't have that amount of time and that level of exchange, that is music playing, it's an invitation that is being said, you don't have the time to talk. These barriers are still really powerful. So I didn't find a way yet to go around this issue, mostly because those who I have a hard time connecting with in their way don't come very often. Actually, they come around very rarely, so I don't have time to slowly get there. With those who are around me here more often, there is no such an issue like that. Save exceptions. That was the thing that you're talking about now, Addison. The thing of the battery, draining the battery versus putting back energy in the battery. And guys, I think that's just how things happen, you know, like in every group of people. There is the people who are really energizing. There's the people who are less energizing for you. I mean, as an individual, the person you vibe with, the person you don't vibe with. Because as much as we talk that it would be nice for everybody to embrace as many people as possible in the social, in the dance environments, we know that that can be a little naive, that you want people to have that full openness of the Buddha, but not even Buddha was that open. You know? So I think it's important for us to acknowledge that there are these aspects that it's okay not to vibe with everybody. And it's completely fine to say no to some people just because you don't want to, you know, for whatever reason. Being, of course, we are aware of the circumstances. We are aware it's a small scene. We are aware that that can have an impact, but nothing's forever. that one night that you were more likely to dance with less people, can be compensated in another time that you feel more energized, that you have more bandwidth to dance with more people, So just like bringing balance to things, which is the hardest thing. That's what I think we are trying to do, or we are aiming to achieve, right? I think we follow these spoken rules of engagement in how we are supposed to navigate these things. There are the etiquettes, there are the system values that we abide just by being part of a community, and all these shoulds, like what we should do in that environment. And I want to end this part here and see how you think about this, Alison. When you think about the idea of the customer, the paying customer that wants to come and do their thing, versus the person who is coming for community to make it bigger, make it better, make it happier, or something like that. You are playing with two very different and powerful energies, which are instant gratification versus gratification over time. Like when you come and you do your thing, instant gratification. Right now, I'm getting what I came for. This with everybody, comes over time when the scene gets bigger, healthier, better. And that's, I think, when it comes to saying yes or no issue, that's the thing that gets to me the most. We are instant gratification, sometimes against gratification over time. Like what would be the argument, or what would be the way to ask people to be a little bit here, be a little bit there? How do you go about these things when it come up to you?
First, I want to answer or connect back to what you're saying, dealing with situations where you don't want to dance with somebody. I find that I do a similar thing to you. You do the eye contact and everything. For me, I like to talk to the person. And very recently, this happened to me where I danced with somebody one time. The things just didn't roll. The energy wasn't right. Everything wasn't right for me. I enjoyed the dance. It was a fun dance. No problems with the dance. But I was just like, no, I'm okay without it. And then a little bit later, this person came and asked me for a dance again, maybe a month or two later. And I was already like feeling like, oh God, this is going to happen. But then I decided to just have a chat with the person and got to know a little bit more about the person. And then I realized that, yes, what I felt was something off, but it was something that the person was very aware that was off, and they were trying to work on it. And that shifted things completely for me, because they said, I've been having a very hard time. I really love this dance, but my body just, I don't know, my body doesn't feel natural with this. And I'm doing all the classes and I'm practicing so much. I really want to get better at this. I'm really trying to feel good with this dance, because that's what I really want. And then I asked multiple questions and I understood what was going on there. And I'm like, now, I feel a whole other different type of vibe about that person, because yes, they were aware. Yes, they're working on it. And now I want to hold their hand and go like, let's go. Whatever I can do to help, I'm going to help you. But then if that conversation just went and nothing, the person didn't share anything with me and everything was just like peace. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's just not meant to be. But that person was open to share. And that made a world of a difference. So if you're out there and maybe struggling a little bit to connect with people in the community, or to get more dances, or to get people to say yes to you, maybe try to start with conversations instead of starting with the asking for a dance. If they're out having a seat, just sit down, ask them, hey, how's your night going? Just start a conversation. I know it's not easy for everybody to start a conversation, but that, as hard as it is, that I think really helps people connect with you. So then if you're already having a hard time connecting on the dance floor, building a connection outside of the dance floor is going to help the one on the dance floor. If you just keep pushing that connection on the dance floor, I think it's going to feel more like building a wall. And then people are going to start avoiding. If that person had just continued pushing, and every time I dance with that person, the energy is just off and off, I would get to a point that I would just like, nah, sorry, it's a no. So let's try to be open ourselves. If we need any help, asking a teacher, asking a friend, asking somebody. And as the receiver, let's try to be open about it and start a conversation with that person. And maybe they're going to share something with you that makes the total sense. We had students before that came from injuries, surgeries, and people were like, oh, why is that person move like that? Oh, that person can't keep timing, or that person is something like this, something like that. And then we realized that person was recovering from an injury or a surgery or some trauma. Mm-hmm. And then you go like, wow, okay, wait, it's not their fault. They're trying. Mm-hmm. Like they're really, really trying. And probably it's harder for them to be here than for you to say yes to that dance because of what they're going through. So that's the part of the community that I think we need to be a little bit more open. Yeah, and talking now about the instant gratification that Gui mentioned before versus, the general public gratification of everybody having a good time. Talking about me personally as a community builder, a teacher, and somebody who wants the best for the community, I like to put it this way. I don't make that decision of how I deal with this. I let what I want for the community to make the decision for me. So to be more specific, there are times in communities where I can feel that some people are there just for themselves. And I'm like, cool, great. I'm here for everybody, so I'm going to focus on everybody. I focus on the people who are there for everybody. The people who are there for themselves, for their own gratification, to dance with whoever they want. I will be open if they ask me for a dance, but I will not be looking for them, because as part of the role that I want to have in the community, I not only want to be part of the group of people who want to make the community feel better and grow and be together, but I also have the responsibility to lead by example. If as a local teacher, a traveling teacher, visiting teacher, whatever teacher you want to classify one as, whatever I'm doing, I have a certain responsibility and role to that people look at me and they're like, oh, that's what they're doing. So it's the okay thing to do. If I go and I do a weekender and I'm just dancing with the people that didn't come to the workshops, just came to the party to dance with a couple of people, then I'm just rewarding that fact that it's okay to just come to the party and skip the classes and dance with whoever you want. While I'm saying, and I said this before, there's nothing in the rule books of any school or community that says that you cannot and you're not allowed to do that. That doesn't go with what I want for the community. And often when those people come and have a conversation with me, I play the strict parent in that role, and I'll gently in some way let them know that I see it and I don't welcome it. In a way that I'm going to ask questions. I'm like, oh, so how is your dance tonight? It's okay. Not many great people to dance with. It starts like that. And I'm like, oh, really? Oh, I'm very curious now. What do you mean by great people? What are those great people that you're looking for? What does that mean when you say great or good dancers, or there's no dancers that I want to dance with? And then I start digging. And then I try as politely and diplomatic as I can to tell them, oh, okay, well, the community, it's better for the community, like this. I try to plant my seed there and see if maybe over time they can think about it or not. I can't do anything about it, but I try to plant a seed. Yeah, I'll go and dance with that person, no problem. But at least I try to do my deed for that moment to maybe try to make them think about being more open and welcoming, and also try to make them realize that whatever the great means, that doesn't mean a good dance.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking for somebody who is at my level or higher. That doesn't mean it's going to be a great dance. That doesn't mean it's going to be a good dance at all, or an acceptable dance. It might be a dance that you'll be thrown around, or you're going to be throwing people around, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a good or great dance. Yeah. And sometimes, occasionally, when the person is just not being nice about it, then I allow myself to remove the diplomatic speech, and I just go for it. And I go like, yeah, nah, bro. Attitude like this is what destroys communities. So I don't agree with it. And then I just deliver it cold. But that's very rare, very rare. Most of the times, whether they agree with me or not, at least they have a conversation. And I'm like, okay, that's all I can do right now.
Yeah. And I have seen transformations, for example, in people that I went and I visited once.
Yeah.
The place, and they were more disengaged, just dancing with a few people over the night of the course of the social. And I came back the next time and they're dancing with everybody and things are happening. And it was the result of a conversation. Like you said that you had this conversation with someone. Sometimes the result of a conversation. So that was a very good reminder, as always, to have this in your head that there might be so many reasons why that person is doing the thing the way that they're doing. That in a conversation you discover so much, because the fact that you know the information changes your perspective quite a lot. And I think that for me is everything, because changes your willingness to be around that person. It changes the way you approach that person. It changes the way that you understand the dance that is going on. It's not that it's something off anymore. You know what's going on, and that changes everything. So super nice reminder, Alison, for everybody that is listening now.
There's this one dancer that I can specifically remember. I know them for about 15 years. And for the longest time, I saw this follower. Every social, whenever I visited this place, just the unwelcoming face, unwelcoming posture, kind of like occasionally dancing with somebody here and there that was at their level, as they believe. And whenever that person decided to dance with somebody who was not at their God level, the face was just like, I want this dance to end. And then one day I had a beautiful conversation with that person. That person was in complete denial. They were just like, nah, I don't care. And I'm like, okay, cool. Took me multiple more conversations because I felt that that person was dealing with something that was not dance. It was something else. I felt it was something to do with some things that happened in the past, approval, disapproval, something. And then years later, when I came back, this person was like one of the most welcoming there. And the face and the attitude didn't change as much in terms of when you look from far away, but the interaction, changed, and like, if you don't know that person, you're probably going to think that they're not very welcoming. But if you watch their actions, I could see there was something there, And the reason why I kept going on to this person, I kept going back to this person, was because that person kept coming back to me during private lessons occasionally as well, and asking, why don't people like to dance with me? Why don't people want to dance with me? And when I dance with like teachers, when I dance with people who are like higher level than me, they don't ask me again. They never ask me to dance again. If I don't go and ask, they don't ask me. And that's when I'm like, okay, we need to get real about this.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get very real about this, because I tell you every time, the welcoming, the posture, the way that you talk to people, if you're not willing to change or to learn from it, that's okay. But that's the consequence that is going to continue to happen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you cannot expect a different result by doing the same thing. But over time, it helped. And I'm always very glad to see that person again. And look, I hope that that person is also doing the same for other people, helping them navigate this social thing that we live in that is sometimes so awkward and sometimes so easy. And it's very hard to know when and how.
Yeah, I think when you talk about all these things, it came again the idea of a small city, of a small town, somewhere in the countryside that Brazilian Zouk is, and comparing to the life in the big city, where we don't talk to our neighbors anymore. You know, like we walk by all these people in the elevator or in the hallways. We say hi, but we do our thing. I do my thing. We all do the thing. And there is a relationship of respect. We don't make too much noise, of course. Now we follow the rules and regulations and all this stuff. But every time I watch a documentary or anything about people that live in smaller cities, there's all this exchange. They talk more, they know about more. Like there are parties where everybody go, everybody brings a little thing, and everybody participates in a way for the good of the town, because that's what makes the town go around, is community. And Brasilia Zouk for me is that. It's like a small town where people know each other. We are still, and I hope we don't get there, that we become people that live in a big building with thousands of residents that cross each other in the hallways and don't say hi, you know? So the aspect of saying yes or no to someone in the social, considering everything we talked about, having boundaries in place, having awareness of your limits, how much you can do and you cannot do, combining all of that with treating well your neighbor in this small town. Yeah, and I think that mindset is one that I try to carry and keep it in mind, because this person that I'm saying yes to a dance, that dance can be the difference between them staying or leaving the scene. That dance can be the difference between how confident they feel in their dance. That one more dance, instead of dancing 2 songs, dancing 3 songs, can be like what has a big impact for everybody. So sometimes for us, it's just a yes for a dance. But for that person receiving the yes, it's a big, big, big deal, especially depending on who is giving the yes. And the exchange, like Alison was saying in his story, about the face of the person dancing with other people. That is what happens after the yes or the no. What happens after the yes, which is the exchange part. And when I was talking about my favorite people to dance with, it was not necessarily how many things, was not how much they could do, because they were just starting, but the exchange that we had. That was so amazing. That was so engaging, you know. So sometimes we don't know much, technically speaking, but the way that we engage with someone else can be really transformational, can be really the difference. So in the end, for me, it's this invitation. Guys, we live in this small town called Brazilian Zouk community, you know, treating well the neighbors, being mindful of your neighbors, taking care of the environment, because we have the power to change the environment so much. Especially if you are in a community that has 20, 30 people, your presence there, how you navigate the floor can make an enormous difference, can inspire someone. You know, you can inspire someone by being the one that they know that is going to respect their boundaries. So they know that when you say yes to a dance, it's a full-on yes. And that's incredible. That's amazing. We have some people here in DC who are really aware of their boundaries. I've seen them stopping dances in the middle of the dance many time again. Super aware of their boundaries. So people know when they dance with them that they are getting the full-on thing. And the impact that you have by saying yes when you have the capacity to say yes. So, yeah, I think that's it. Like, just to keep those things in mind. In DC, our socials right now, they are ranging between 60 to 100 people on a Friday night or on a Saturday night. So it's getting to the point that it's big enough. If you're watching who is sitting, if you're watching who is dancing, you can start maybe give yourself like this luxury of like, oh, I don't need to dance all the time. I can sit down, I can watch, or I can dance more with this person that I really like to dance with. I can be a little bit more selective because the numbers are enough that everybody has their dance needs met in a way, you know. So we are getting to that point in which we can be more, let's say, a little bit more selfish, a little bit more like, let me get exactly how I want and what I want, But for those in the smaller places, I would recommend this awareness, like watching and perceiving the impacts of the behavior in the party.
And please, if you see somebody who is struggling, instead of isolating them, find a way to help them. Maybe you're not the person who feels that can help them, but maybe somebody in the community can. Maybe your teacher, maybe a friend, maybe anybody else. And say, hey, that leader or that follower, there's something going on there. People don't like dancing with them. Somebody should have a conversation with them. And go there, have a conversation. Most people are very open to it. Most people are very open to it. Some are aware, some are completely unaware. But you know what? The worst thing that we can do is to watch and do nothing. I think that's the worst thing we can do. To watch and see somebody having a hard time, struggling, not feeling good about it, and do nothing. Please do the kind thing as a person, as a human being. And if you see that somebody's having a hard time in the community, try to seek help for them, or try to at least let people know, people that you trust and know that they can do something about it to help those people. Because we are a big family and we want the best for everybody. Maybe you don't want to dance with that person, that's fine. But that doesn't mean you wish that person to have a terrible time every time, right? So the least you can do is to maybe get somebody to help them. And with that, I hope that everything that we said here in this episode was helpful to you guys. As it has been helpful to us, to be honest, it was a good reminder for us to be here talking about it. That's something that we love about this project. And if you're loving our project too, please make sure that you follow and subscribe us in any platform that you may be listening us with. And follow us on Instagram and check everything that you can to continue supporting us as we grow our very, very small project that has been giving us so much love and so much passion to continue contributing for the community. And we hope to continue growing. So more people can send us messages with requests. Please do that. If you have any request for a new episode, this one was actually a very much a question sent to us. Please do an episode about saying yes, about saying no and all the things. So we would be very, very happy to continue doing that for you guys. But if not, any support is very welcomed and very loved and very appreciated. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And with that, we'll see you on the next one. Everybody, beijos, beijos, abraços, and ciao.
Bye everyone, see you next time.